Holy cow. Geez, what day of the week is it? I don't even know. Let's check. Oh, that's right. It's Monday. That's right. It's the beginning of the week. And we're back here with another interview. Thank you all who supported me on my journey as a Digital Event Strategist of the Year finalist. I just want to make sure that if you didn't understand, I'm still a digital event strategist of the year finalist. But that does put me as the top three inside of the country. Actually, I think it is an international award. But meanwhile, exciting parts back from a trip in Florida a couple of weeks ago. And then what's happening this week? The Northwest Event Show. The Northwest Event Show is one of Seattle's largest event shows of the year. Congratulations, Stuart Butler, who bought it a couple years ago. And yours truly will be speaking there about inclusive meeting design. Exclusive meeting design. Speaking of inclusive meeting design, I've got today's amazing special guest, who, by the way, is backstage just rocking the dance pieces here. I'm going to give you a little dance music to come on in. And she's one of my favorites. She is a specialist in accessibility design. I've met her through the one and only Rick Altman, but that will not ever supplant meeting this person. Let's bring in the one and only. Oh, come on. Why is it button breaks? Okay. The one and only Stephy Hogan. There we go.
It's really hard to dance in this chair. I don't have a lot of room.
Oh, but you found a way. That's what I love about you. Hi, Steffi.
Hi, John.
What does Care Bear 1 say to Care Bear 2?
Care Bear stare? I don't know. I mean, that's what they did.
Okay, and I might as well just start off with you're showing off your shirt. Could you please just show off this amazing shirt? Because I think it's an original design, right?
It is. It is. It says digital accessibility is my jam, because it is. So, and literally they arrived on my doorstep like 30 minutes ago. So I quickly ran and opened the box and changed my shirt.
It's almost as exciting as like being an author when you open up, like you unbox your first box of books, right? And like being a shirt designer. So, well, why don't we start with this part? Of course, Steffi, for my friends who don't know you, by the way, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to know you over the past year because every moment has been super fun with you. For my friends who don't know you, who are you and what is the heck do you do?
That's funny. I'm Stephy Hogan. I live outside of Baltimore, Maryland, and a lot of my friends would say, "What don't I do?" Primarily, I'm all about accessible design. So by day, I work at IBM. I'm a UX designer there. By not day, I do accessible design talks and workshops, and that's, side gig work and things like that. I also have a nonprofit that I started to get girls interested in STEM through art and making things. I have a dog that I have to take care of, and a husband and 2 kids that I have to take care of, or 2.5 kids. I don't know. I don't know.
2.5 kids? How do you count the half?
The husband.
Oh, of course. That's like 2.25. Depends on
depends on the day.
Depends on the day. That's true. That's true. Amazing, Steffi. So, yeah, I used to do a little work at Microsoft. So you're at the Big Blue. Talk more about how did you get into accessible design? And what I'd also love is the add-on is if you could just get people to do one thing for accessible design, what's like the one thing?
Oh man. Okay. Well, how I got into it. Actually, okay. So the first time I ever had to work on anything with accessible design was when I was working a UX project, and we had to send it over to the testers, and they had to test for 508 compliance. And I'm like, oh, okay, I have to design this accessibly or something like that. So then I started getting into that. And what really got me like devoted to it was that when I started doing that, and people noticed, friends of mine would come up and say, coworkers would say, can you fix this? Because I'm colorblind and I literally cannot see this. So, some friends had troubles. And then when COVID hit, what made me take the deep dive is when COVID hit and suddenly school was from home 100% of the time. That was fun. My daughter, my oldest, their classes, they were required to have their camera on. and they were required to have their microphone on 100% of the time. But she has severe anxiety issues. And to see how that affected her, because it's different when you're in class and your friends are facing the teacher versus when you're at home and the whole class is staring at you. Just seeing the neurodiversity side of things, that just made me take the deep dive, because there are issues that we all need to kind of fix.
So let's talk a little bit more about that one in particular, because obviously, by default, I'm an advocate for cameras on. I
Mhm.
have a friend who actually created something too called what do we call it? Mics on, where he actually has run some meetings with all the mics on, assuming that everyone's in a quiet enough space, because he was said a lot of times what we're missing is those like in between things, like even sometimes hearing people breathe or sigh
Mhm.
or other things like that. That emptiness that we're getting. So talk to me now from the other perspective, and what would be, or what was better for your daughter and other neurodivergents?
So I was always a you must have your camera on and mic on snob for a very long time, because I thought it was disrespectful to not have it on. Um, but wait, totally. See, I'm neurodivergent. I just had the train go off the tracks. Uh, what were we talking about?
Cameras off, cameras on,
Cameras
cameras off.
off. Yeah. So cameras off. Um, Now it's like with the cameras off, I'm all for, even though it's still ingrained to me, I'm always on camera. I always have to remember to say, cameras are optional. Would love to see your face. Because I know that there are people out there who have severe anxiety issues. And I mean, some of my coworkers I've never met in person, because when we do have company get-togethers, they don't come because of their anxiety issues. So, like, okay, I get it. I shouldn't force the people who it's a huge issue. It's terrifying. It's stress inducing. Like, physiologically, the body just does all kinds of crazy stuff when you're suffering from anxiety like that. So yeah, I'm definitely pro, if you need to keep your cameras off, because this is an inclusive meeting and I don't want you to be uncomfortable. But at the same time, I like seeing you.
So you
And then
just,
I try to charm them with my smile. And if that doesn't work, then it's okay. No big deal.
yeah, I am the big fan of choice, because in the end, right, there's an invitation, but there's also do what you need to do to take care of you to be here,
Mm-hmm.
right, and be fully present here.
Yeah.
We got some friends here online with us too, saying, "Ooh, art girl," by the way, and to help people to access it. Too cool. Former SPED teacher. I'll have to check on that comment
Special ed
in
teacher.
here.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think choice is one of the key pieces, and I think that's actually true in accessible design. So what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the other things? Then you said, I love that you said that you dived into it since COVID. And so, I mean, COVID too was this accelerator, right? If we would have done it pre-COVID, it would have taken like probably 7 times as long to get this much data or input
Yeah.
feedback. So, what are now the things that you've seen, trends and things
Well,
you wish people would start or stop doing?
yeah. So COVID, yeah, COVID sucks. COVID was also the accelerator of like so much. And necessity breeds invention, right? So here we are in a COVID, hopefully post COVID soon world. Um, but the accessibility stuff that has come out of it is really cool, because suddenly everybody's working from home, and that's when people really start to understand certain aspects of accessible digital design that they didn't ever think of before. The distraction from everybody else being in the house and you're trying to work, that's a huge thing for neurodivergence. If you have a crappy internet connection and you're working from home, that's a struggle too. And if you have old hardware, or the way you're set up in the kitchen table and there's only space next to a window and you have screen glare. So it brought to light, I think, for a lot of people, issues that they never really considered before, and had a lot of light bulb moments.
Yes, and is the light bulb moments though, like again, they were all there. It's just like there was no light. And so to me, the light bulb moment is kind of like you actually shine. Like I, I don't know. Maybe I get excited that when there's problems because it showed all this new stuff, which
Mhm.
was there the whole time, but
Yeah.
because people weren't doing it, on
Oh,
a consistent basis, either people weren't talking about it or what.
and let me tell you, I totally rely heavily on live captioning when I'm in a meeting. Doesn't matter what software is being used. I rely on it for a couple different reasons. One, I really seriously do have a lot of focus issues. Um, and being able to, having to read as I'm looking at people, it keeps me a little more focused.
Mm,
Also, when I'm working with new people who have accents and dialects that I'm not necessarily familiar with,
yes.
it's a huge help. Huge help. I can't even begin to tell you how thankful I am for that, because I hate asking people to repeat themselves because I feel embarrassed that I don't understand what they're saying. So I think it helps me a lot.
But it hit your ears, but you didn't like process it, right? Like sometimes it takes two or three different ways to process it.
Mm-hmm.
To get it, and that's why I think captions are so important. Captions, and also if you go further, you can go back to transcript,
Yeah.
which means that you can actually go backwards in time per se and go back and going, what did they say?
Uh-huh.
Right? Like in the context of what is that? So here's actually a very funny story. We had one of the hardest professors at UC Santa Barbara. He was his nickname was TJ. It was like Teofilio Julio or something like that, and so his initials were TJ. And he was one of the hardest computer science professors in the school. And then he had a thick accent on top of it. And then he would speak probably about 180 to 200 words a minute. And we just couldn't figure it out. And we were like, as soon as you miss one context or something, you were lost in the class.
Oh man.
But we discovered that this is like early. This is like, geez, 1987. I have to go back and think about it. Where we discovered the class was being videotaped for a remote class in another campus. So all of us uniformly, there were five of us. We stopped going to class, and we all started taking the tape out. And then the five of us would watch on a library VCR in a room together, and then we would actually stop the tape as soon as we were lost and talk through and rewind if necessary to go back and understand. And
Brilliant.
the five of us aced the class.
That's awesome.
And this is all pre-video, but that's what it took. I mean, it took us longer to consume his
Mm-hmm.
class because in the end we end up spending more than the hour that the lecture was. But it doesn't matter, right? Once you're lost, all the time in that class is lost.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's like having that lost feeling and discovering what it takes to not have that lost feeling. Is that a core or key part of your work?
Yeah, actually, it's because what happens is if we design poorly and just do horrible, like not intentionally. Nobody, I don't know anybody who's intentionally going out there designing it accessibly, but there's some pretty crappy things out there. And that makes the people who are using it, they feel really left out or other or just not important because, well, this is good for everybody else who can understand this or see this or whatever. But it's not just the ability to consume, it is also a psychological thing.
Here, I'm gonna try to see if I can actually do something here too. So I just wanted to see if you've ever seen this tip. Hold on, I gotta try something really crafty, unrehearsed. Hold on.
This is fun.
Okay, there. Now you can see you, right?
I can see me and I see.
Oh wait. I have to. I don't know if I can replace. Oh wait. I know how to do this. Hold on. Replace spotlight with me. Oh,
Ah,
oh no! You're turning purple. Violet, you're
I
turning
mean,
violet.
I'm not upset about turning purple. Let's be honest. What is this?
Oh yeah. Wait a second. Wait, I got it. Okay, here I fixed it. Okay, so there. Now can you? That was great. Wasn't that really cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what you should be able to see on the screen now is my captions below you, right?
Your caption. Well, it'll probably help if I actually turn those on. Show captions live.
Oh no,
Okay.
no, I'm just saying. I should be broadcasting them on my. Oh no, I'm not broadcasting them.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't pick it up. Interesting.
Oh, it doesn't really. Oh,
Hold a
that's
second. So, oh, let me see. I'd have to. Oh, it's because I saw. It's very confusing. Okay, so what I was trying to show here, I'll come back to myself then. Now I understand what's going on. Is that what I was trying to show is that Zoom's version of captions too. If you didn't know, once you have the box open, you can drag the box anywhere
Oh yeah.
on your Zoom screen. So I
Yeah.
thought that was something that's really useful. So other things that I've done in certain meetings is I'll drag the captions underneath the speaker,
Mhm.
whether it's gallery or it's in speaker view.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I don't know if you've ever known that most people don't know that you can actually drag the captions once the caption box is up
Yeah.
on Zoom.
What I also like is that you can adjust the size of the captions um, in the caption settings, which is good for older eyes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was a fun experiment. Uh, in in other parts, well, here I'm going to diverge here. You once drove through a tire fire on a golf cart.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
So, I mean, I was riding on the golf cart. I wasn't driving it. What had happened was back in the before times, before I was a designer, I was a chemist. And I worked for the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection in this mobile lab, which is cool. So I was in like a physical lab most of the time, but if there were emergencies, environmental emergencies, we'd get into this big like RV that was gutted, a big bus that was gutted, and all of this testing equipment was in, and we drive that to on location so we could do testing. So there was a tire fire, and we had to go out there and test the air quality and see if the residents were in danger or what have you. And of course, I was an intern at the time, and there was another intern, and he and I were getting ready to do the stuff, and the guy who owned the land that had the tire fire on it, he's like, why don't we go check this out? And we hop on his golf cart, and he just drove us right through the tire fire so you could see where everything was burning and smoldering, and it was wild. Might have taken a year or two off my life, but it was a cool experience.
You're off because of the toxic smoke?
Because of toxic fumes. Yeah. Rubber.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah.
that was your intern week? That was your intern experience in
Couple
general?
summers. Yeah. It was a couple summers working there.
Was that IBM or was that somewhere else?
Oh, no, that was in Department of Environmental Protection in Pennsylvania. Mhm.
What
Mhm.
is the Department of Environmental Protection burning tires for?
Oh, no. We were called out because somebody else had tires on fire and we had to go test the air quality.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was like a demo by them. I was like, here's
Yeah.
what not to do. We did it.
Oh, it was like intense training. Like the FBI has theirs and the EPA has driving through tire
You got to
fires.
burn some tires. I mean, you got to go test some tire fire burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, all right. So yeah, 3 years into COVID. Happy 3 year COVID anniversary. COVID
Oh,
anniversary.
Lord, it is 3.
Yeah, we need a new name. And what has to happen for you, especially too, like help me sit in the neurodivergent seat, and I'd love
Oh,
to hear, what has to happen for you for a virtual meeting to really be engaging for you.
oh, okay. Well, I need something. Yeah, I needed to keep my attention. Like virtual meetings that are just the person there talking, and there's no, healthy chat or what have you. It's really, really boring. And that's when I have my camera off, and I might go upstairs and do a load of laundry and come back, that kind of thing. I hope my boss isn't watching this.
Except for that meeting.
Hi, Micah. I never do that in your meetings now. Anyway, so for it to be engaging, to have the chat going. If there's an active chat, that's awesome.
Yes, good.
And I mean, not gonna lie, when John Chen is your DJ on a virtual meeting, holy crap, that's like just this. I don't ever want to leave my seat. Literally, do not want to get up. I'll
Oh,
miss something. Uh, well, there's something else. Ah, crap. Oh, so you know how sometimes the speaker is doing their stuff live on screen and people are chatting versus they send in a pre-recorded version and then there's still chat going on. I actually don't hate the pre-recorded versions as both a speaker and a participant. Speaker wise, it's because I can engage with the audience while I hate seeing myself. I don't like listening to myself, but while my thing is playing, I can be in the chat and like, oh, hey, and here's another resource. Oh, I forgot to do this. Oh gosh, what, and just have a really good chat. It's fun and silly. And then as a participant, you get to talk with presuming the speaker is like I am, we get to chat together. And if they don't chat, then it's not so fun. But yeah, if they're there, love it.
Steph, you'll love this story. So I've been applying to speak at all these conferences, and I finally got a hit on one of them. And they're like, "We want you to be a speaker." I'm like, "Oh, that's super exciting." Now you need to submit a pre-recorded video. Oh,
oh that's funny for you. That's
so I thought about it. I thought about it for a while, and I took one of my videos that I actually got an audience,
mm-hmm.
and I ran a class, and then I edited the video of the class, but I had real people in there who were interacting. And they came back in and they were like, "This video appears to be recorded for another conference, right? Please submit another one." And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I got an audience for you.
Yeah.
This was one of the ways I wanted to get around a pre-recorded video is that I didn't want to talk for 30 minutes. I thought that you might want to hear some people.
There's got to be a snarky way to do that.
It took 3 rounds for that, but they finally took it.
Oh my gosh.
And then it had a live Q&A at the end, right? So they play the video, and then I had to log in for a live Q&A, and I logged into the live Q&A, and we chatted about a whole bunch of really cool things, and then people started commenting and going like, "We love that you're the only person in this conference who had a video who had other people in it. We love that. We want to see more." And I'm like, teleconference organizer. Teleconference. So that was the craftiest way so far I've gotten to get a pre-recorded video where it felt engaging.
That's cool. That's a neat idea. Yeah.
And nobody else did it. I think that's one of the interesting parts, right? Is nobody, like, who says pre-recorded has to be pre-recorded, has to be just you.
Yeah. I love it when people push back and you're like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one.
And people loved it, right? Because the rest of the conference was technical. I was actually the only talk that was on about like how to make virtual meetings better, as opposed to like how to make your Power BI search or something better.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think it's really ironic that they were, yeah. That I have no words.
I have no word. Wow, Steffi. Okay, Steffi, let's go to this other part. You're a founding board member of the Presentation Guild, of which I'm very honored to be the virtual MC for the Presentation Summit, related to, not exactly entire, but closely related. But I'm also a member of the Presentation Guild too. And from Stephy Hogan's seat, what does virtual presentations have to have, right, or stop having?
Oh gosh. Okay. And I know this is like virtual presentations covers a wide gamut, right?
I understand.
The work ones, and then you get the conference ones. The biggest pet peeve I have, and the one I think I hate the most, and I just want it to die, is people going, "Next slide, please."
Why do
you? Oh my gosh!
I want to know why.
Can you practice beforehand if you're not doing the presenting, practice with the person beforehand. Let them know what the trigger words are that you get to. You say a trigger word and they're like, "Oh, that's when I have to change the slide." Got it. Oh my gosh. I had a one of the senior C-suite people in a company I worked at, and it was so obnoxious. I swear to God, it was every 10 seconds. And I'm just like writhing in my seat and, having side chats outside. Like, why are they doing this to me?
You're no longer listening to the presentation now. That's the best.
I had no idea what he said. All I could hear was "next slide, please."
And side note, for those who, like, on my producer's side, one of the things that we work really hard on is just put the trigger words in the notes. So the person, like, well, if you're in presenter view, you can see the words, right? And then the trigger word is like, "is my jam."
Yeah.
Right? Because nobody in the world wants to know either these two things. And now I'm about to share my screen. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. And then nobody cares about next slide, please. No, nobody, right? Like we're in the audience. None of us need to know that. We
Even
want
for
to get
my
to the,
own presentations, when I'm like, especially when I'm pre-recording, no, when I'm live, it doesn't matter. When I have my notes and I don't remember when I'm supposed to go to the next slide, I have trigger word notes in my own notes for me. So
I've done that too.
you
I've done
know,
that too.
so I'm like, okay, because I don't script out things a lot of the time. I just talk to it because I'm teaching something or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just have to remember, okay, yeah, okay, it's time to move on. So
I do when I'm presenting too. That's actually like I actually have the clicks timed to like certain words, literally
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
change behind me. But no, let's talk about that for a second, Steffi, because that's a part too. I don't think people understand. While rehearsing a talk is a good idea, right? Talk to me about why you choose to talk about or around the slide as opposed to purely scripting.
Okay. I mean, I tend to improv a lot. However, I do have to script some things because ADHD, tangent, train goes over there, and I'm supposed to be over here. And so those parts I have to script. But there are parts where I might be showing off examples of something I'm talking about. And like I have like 10 slides of examples that I'm going through. Why this is crappy, why this is crappy, why you should do this and not this. That's more of a kind of a free form thing. And I do it because I don't want to sound scripted for certain parts because I know I will sound scripted in some parts. And I want to have the freedom to let my personality come out, depending on who I'm presenting to. There might be a couple of swear words in there. Usually not, but there are some audiences in which I let myself do that. But yeah, they're going through that. And then also when I'm demoing how to do something, I never script that. Never. I mean, you don't know what kind of things are going to go wrong while you're demoing something, and
Right.
then you lose. There's absolutely no reason to script them. Maybe make a list of post-its on my desk saying, okay, we're going to show this, and then we're going to show this, but no script.
And I think that's an important piece that I think people miss. Now, maybe too, you self-admittedly says you're an ADHD yourself, right? Which is one of the reasons why I think I like you so much. is that is that sometimes the improv is a superpower? Because I now after 3 years too, some people don't have that.
Yeah, that is true. There are a lot of people who haven't relaxed into it, and people who can't relax into it. I think the opposite of ADHD is OCD, and that's my husband. So living with OCD and us together it's interesting sometimes. But there are some people who literally cannot relax into improv, and that's okay. And honestly, for me, I think I'm okay at improv. It depends on the thing. When I'm presenting, I'm okay usually. My guitar teacher is trying to teach me to improv on the guitar, and I am terrible at it.
Why are you terrible
Horrible.
at it? Why?
It's terrifying. It's, I mean, okay. So we give presentations and we know the pacing that we like in certain parts. We know when to speed up and we know when to slow down. But for some ungodly reason, I just can't translate that to a musical instrument. I can't get the rhythms the way they sound good.
So here's the best part about music here. I'm just going to help you out, right? Go back and listen to some either Miles Davis, like some jazz
Mhm.
or like Smashing Pumpkins or like some cuz in the end, if you find something that's new, then that is the good improv, right? And then
Mhm.
you watch most of them are like off time, right?
Yeah.
The other part too, go get a bunch of pedals.
Oh man, I haven't started on that obsession yet. That's probably
That is a great obsession. Right? Nothing makes you sound better, right, than pedals and effects and stuff to like going, I sound like in your head, you sound like
yeah.
fill in the blank.
I'm
Anyways,
Tom
I,
Morello all of a sudden.
I just want to encourage you to like bring your improv skills to there and let yourself be bad because for all improvers, I think we all understand too, right? To be great improvers, we had to be good improvers. To be good improvers, we once had to be bad, really
Hmm.
bad improvers.
Yeah.
And it's about getting over that first stage.
Hmm.
So like even this, like improv, I was just thinking about this, and I was like, oh, you talked about your husband, and I just like, a joke like comes through, and it's I don't even have the punchline. All I have is the opening line of the joke, and it sounds like this, right? An ADHD and an OCD walk into a bar, and then you just let everyone else improv.
Yeah.
Nicole Smith says, "Oh, just do the same three notes." Over
Yeah.
and over and over. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that way? Have you seen that video? There's a video where a guy plays like 20 or 40 top songs using three chords.
Yes. Yes, I have actually just sent it to a friend recently.
There you go. So you know exactly what
One,
I'm
four,
talking
five.
about. Yeah, right. That say everyone wants to rule the world. It's the same three notes. So, anyways, one day we're gonna actually. I'll have to consider playing. Oh, actually, I take it back. I believe I am bringing a guitar to this year's presentation summit, and I'm a karaoke quote unquote expert. Haha.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch and cheer. I don't do karaoke. It's not
You
me,
don't have to. No, but you should bring your
but I
guitar.
will cheer on.
You need to bring your guitar.
I'll have to get a TSA approved locking case. I've had one on my wish list for 3 years because I think in 2019 I was going to bring it and then I didn't. So that's a good story.
Why? Okay, should I ask? How can I ask? Okay, I'm gonna.
No, the story was I was going to bring it and then I didn't.
Okay, it's 3 years later. We're gonna do this. It's not, you can borrow my guitar.
Oh, there you go.
'Cause I'll
So are
probably
you going to bring electric or acoustic?
I will most likely bring electric that can be played like an acoustic, though, by the way, because it has a tube amp,
Oh, cool.
right? There's nothing better than like mashing the digital world with the analog world.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
So we'll hope for that.
Kind of like virtual and hybrid presenting, isn't it?
That should be the name of the band. All right, the hybrids.
Hybrids.
Analog people over there, virtual people.
And by the end, y'all mix up.
The virtual people are always 4 seconds late.
There's a,
Oh, Nicole says she's totally jelly. She is totally. She says there's a guitar club on Eventbrite. What?
wow,
Should there-
that's cool.
Okay, okay. Best or coolest meeting in the last 3 years?
Okay. Oh, what have I gone to? I went to there. That one was good. Creative Pro Week was pretty cool. I mean, Presentation Summit is always awesome. Uh, best, and I've gone to a UI UX summit and a bunch of other random little things, but I don't know. My nerd is showing. I think the Presentation Summit is still some of the best experience I've ever had at a conference. I've gone to Vid Summit. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's like all the famous YouTubers go there and you learn how to do YouTube stuff and social media and crap. It wasn't personal. It was like too big. I mean, we tried to be personal, but it was too big. But I think, yeah, Presentation Summit kind of
A
wins.
moment like this is a shout out for Rick right now. That right? It's like a moment. It could be anybody's presentation. It could be any portion of the programming.
A moment from the summit. Oh gosh. There are a couple. I mean, one of the one. How am I supposed to choose one, John?
Choose three. Break the rules. I don't care.
I don't know. There was one day, the first conference, I mean, it was second or third conference I went to. And I walked in the hotel and someone goes, "Oh my God, I'm Stephy. I'm supposed to meet you," and stuff. I'm like, "Who are you? And how do you know my name? And what's going on?" This apparently like Echo and Sandy and everybody else this summer, like, "Hey, to meet Steffi." I'm like, "Aw, so cool." One of the big ones is that's where the idea for the Presentation Guild started. And we had a meeting before we founded it. We called the Hard Rockers. We went into the Hard Rock Cafe and brought a bunch of people from the summit. And we had a private room. We're sitting back there eating and just chatting about like what would a guild look like, and what could we do to make it awesome, and would you join it or would you help test it out and all that stuff. That was really cool. um I learned everything I ever needed to know to learn about presentations. I learned at the summit from Echo and Sandy and Nolan and Rick and I can't and Troy and all of them. I learned from them all, and they're my friends now, and I'm very happy about that.
Okay, I got it. This is a great topic. I've been not pontificating. I've been contemplating. That's the word. What makes a conference a community for you?
For me, it's all of those. First of all, it can't be too big. You really have to cap how many people can attend when you're in person. Um, virtual, I'll do separate. But in person like that, you can't have too many people. It's just, you can't, it gets clicky, or you don't get to talk to people and nobody gets personal and stuff like that. But then having those fun events, the after hours, but still kind of part of the conference events, like at the summit, there's Jeopardy, PowerPoint Jeopardy or whatever. That was one of my favorite ones. Everybody like lets their hair down. Everybody's drinking wine and beer and giggling, and the people are like playing the game up front and making fools of themselves and completely okay with it. It makes you endear yourself to people, other people, when you do that, and you kind of make friends really quickly. And then you just keep doing, you stay up late when you can find a conference where you have a group of people, and like the last session might end at 3 or 4, but then you find yourself up until 1 a.m. in the hallway geeking out about the reason you came there, and just all night. That's like the best thing in the world. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the in-person part here too, that's one of the advantages in-person will always have, is what I maybe call the in-between time.
Yeah.
That in between, and quite often that in between time is the most important time, because like I have a saying, right? The most important meeting is the meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the meeting.
Yeah, it really is.
The content in the middle is always going to be the content in the middle, but you have this opportunity, and if you connect to the community, or you make the investment in the community to be there for that period of time, ideally, if you have the right set of people, magic happens, right?
Yeah. And seriously, you really did do that for virtual. The only time I've felt like a new family or community on virtual was when you did the virtual for the summit, when we had the first hybrid one. And I was in person, and some of my friends, they were virtual, and I had no way. I mean, there were times when I was carrying my phone around, logged in, just so I could be also part of the virtual.
Yeah.
Because they were having so much fun.
We did. Rick helped me coin a new term called reverse FOMO.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
With a virtual is so good that the actually in-person people. I mean, if I can attribute it to the story, I carried my phone around.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. You can use that wherever. But I did. Like Mona was online. Everybody else. I'm like, they were saying, oh, I wish we could see whatever. So I would do a little video chat and bring that around. But then
here they are.
Thank God for the internet, right?
It's like my little friend. It's like, say hello to my
friend. Yeah, during Jeopardy or something, or right before that, everybody was doing something online. I'm like out in the hallway, logging in. Hey guys, sorry, I can't hear you. I'm gonna go find a quiet spot.
The funny part for that just happened at a large conference, and we were in these small virtual sessions, and a bunch of people, like 20% of the people came in, were in the lunchroom in the in-person event, and we're like, why are you people here? You're in person. And they go, oh, all the in-person sessions capped out because they were limited in attendance.
Oh my gosh.
So they jumped into the virtual.
I
didn't expect that.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. That's wow.
I don't think it's cool. Right, but I do thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And
See, it made it more accessible and inclusive.
well, I do think there's that. There, like, it solved a problem that was happening that I don't think people anticipated it.
Yeah.
And so, let people choose. I think it goes right back to, like, I think everything that you as neurodivergent is let people
Yeah.
choose what's good for them, right?
That is like one of the main core things about accessible design is giving multiple ways to do something. It doesn't mean that each way is the exact same as the other. You can't design one thing that is exactly the same for all different abilities. But if you have multiple ways that are a little different, then you get more people in there.
And making
That's
them all okay. I think that's the other piece is like, how can you make make somebody wrong for doing something they want to do, period.
yeah.
Right? If as long as it's not harming anybody. I mean, like we're like this is
Mhm.
why Zoom bombing doesn't work, okay? You can't come into a community and Zoom bomb them, right? Because that's not beneficial. But in general, if you're like doing stuff for yourself, like that's not harming or disturbing anybody else, what's the deal? Okay, so this leads me to the future now, Steffi. Steffi, we went through the 21 dog years of COVID, okay?
Yeah.
And so, what does Steffi Hogan see in the future? Like, what 5 or 10 years down?
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you see in the future, or better yet, things that you wish for the future?
Um, I hope and wish that people won't discount a hybrid meeting or a virtual meeting as we used to, or some people still do, because it can be more inclusive and really fun. If it's done well, hybrid events slash virtual events are fantastic. And I hope that we keep that momentum going. And there's nothing wrong. We can just keep having in person, hybrid, and virtual. Everybody's going to have different ones. But yeah, I want the hybrid and virtual to keep going and not like go off because some CEO is like, okay, you're all coming back into the office now. Um, and I was thinking, what? I read an article about VR. And Apple, I think Tim Cook is going all in on his VR headset as his legacy item, which is cool. I mean, I am a tech geek. I will buy like the new thing the second it's out if I can, if it's reasonably priced, because I want to test it and I want to see how can I use this. Um, but I don't think VR is going to be done well for meetings and events for a very, very long time, very long time, like maybe 20, 30 years, if anything, because people struggle with virtual events right now. How are they going to manage to do a VR event? you know?
Yeah, does it get easier? Or does it get harder? I don't think the answer is there. I don't think the answer is there. I think one of the pieces, I think, like why I might agree with you, is that the VR experience is still too foreign for a human.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the whole putting a headset on, and it's like there's too many. There's already enough disconnects. Like, people
Yeah.
already complained about disconnects. Like you and I, we're on a video, we're talking to each other, and the people in general in the world say, "Oh, you two are disconnected." I'm just about to write a piece for somebody else. So it's for management, and I said, "Virtual is face to face. Like this is my face, and it's currently facing
Mm-hmm.
Steffi's face.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually do a lot with that. But in the VR side." I'm not sure what you get because I'm not sure you don't get actually a real representation yet of the person too. You're still getting an avatar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
I
I,
can do my hair and my makeup and my clothes and be like, I could be 6 feet tall in VR.
and then I think you lose that piece of authenticity,
yeah. Oh, yes.
right? Like people fall in love with Steffi Hogan because they're like, ah, crap, that's Steffi Hogan, that's purple hair Steffi Hogan, that's guitar playing Steffi Hogan, right? As opposed to do you make your avatar look like that or not? I don't know. So yeah, so I think I'm with you on the VR side on that so far.
Yeah.
Because there will be an innovation that will something will happen that will cross over. Like what I have said about almost every piece of technology, it needs its killer app,
Mm-hmm.
and the killer app could be meetings right now,
Mm-hmm.
but something has to change inside the experience to make it that last piece, right? They have to solve
Yeah.
these problems, headset, right, orientation, like some other stuff. I'm not sure what it is yet.
I don't even want to know what it's going to be like to do accessible design inside of a VR environment. You have to get the video gamers that I guess they're the ones, the accessible designers in video games would probably be the best qualified to
I'm the worst though. The
that.
only thing that I'm super excited about in VR is that I could have infinite number of screens.
I have 360 screens.
Like not just
Yeah.
6, I got 42.
I have my sphere, and then I can jump out of my sphere and go to another set of spherical screens,
Oh yeah, I feel like Star Trek, like where you go in the
like
bubbles,
parallel
right? That were
universes.
like in Vulcan. And then I could like jump from like the math bowl to like the history bowl.
Yeah, you go from conference A to conference B, and then back to conference A, and then maybe over to yeah. Like,
That'd be give all new terms to jumping. Okay, and one other side bonus here. What's the piece of AI that you're actually using right now, if any? It could be
oh,
none. I'm okay with a none.
um, I mean, I don't experiment with a lot, but I've actually been using Chat GTP, GPT, GP
Yes, that's it.
letters, chat letters. I've been using that one a lot.
I
It
want
works
a new
really well.
T-shirt with that. I'm using chat letters.
Using chat letters. I'm get a sticker, maybe a pin. Um, but yeah, yeah. Well, that's actually working well. If you, I find that if you give it more input and try to talk with the AI, so it gets to kind of know your voice,
Ooh,
and then you ask it to write a thing, it's
ooh.
closer to what you would actually say. I actually used it for my performance review at home, at work, not home, work.
Well, that's quote unquote legalish, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't.
well, I put the input and what I needed it to say, and like, can you make this sound professional? Because I hate writing. I hate
We're
it.
happy with it.
I was happy with it. It came out pretty well. I mean, I had to tweak a couple things, but then I was like, okay, cool, cut, paste, done.
So somebody today, we were on a call and saying I need to use metaphors in selling, and one of them is like as a virtual MC is something that I sell, and so they said, well, you need to use metaphor, and so one of the metaphors people came up with, it's like not having, it's like having a circus without a ringmaster, is having a virtual conference without an MC.
Yeah,
And
that
And then a whole bunch of text blew out of it, and it looked like somebody had plugged that, like, write a description of this using this metaphor, and it sounded right on the dot. Wait, can I find it?
yeah, yeah, yes.
Just see, let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Oh shoot, wait, next one. Having a conference without a virtual MC is like a circus without a ringmaster. Just as a ringmaster directs the flow of the circus, keeping the audience engaged and focused on the performers, a virtual MC guides the conference, ensuring that speakers stay on track and that attendees remain attentive and engaged. Doesn't that sound like ChatGPT? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that piece. Steffi, thank you for your time. Where can people find you at?
You can find me. Well, the Accessible Design Lab is where I put all my accessible stuff. So it's Accessible Design Lab on YouTube. AccessibleDesignLab.com is sort of there. I don't do much on it. It's just kind of a website. But I'm also there's a Facebook page. There's a link. No, that's about it. There's Facebook page and YouTube.
And Steffi, do me this last favor too. Congratulations on getting your 501c3. Will you just take a minute and describe what your amazing vision for this 501c3 is?
It's exciting and it's also terrifying because now I actually have to do something with it. But I've been trying to and working on this project where I get girls, especially young women, whatever, more interested in being in a STEM career, but doing it through art and making things because, I was a chemist, now I'm an artist, and I never really knew how to combine them. And this pet project is literally me combining the scientist and artist together, like synergy. What's that corporate word? Synergy. Um, mesh together.
Synergy.
But yeah, I want people to understand that science doesn't have to be boring. It's fun, and you don't have to give up your creative side. the nonprofit part is that not besides teaching and getting kids interested is that I have this old Japanese van that I'm converting. I wish the weather would get warmer so I could continue on that. We're going to take that and go to various, colleges and some high schools and stuff and have maker competitions where they have to like use science and art. And then the winner, I'm going to give a college scholarship to.
Whoa.
And if it's in high school or whatever, well, actually, I guess it would work in college too. But the teacher sponsor of that student will get a grant for their classroom as well, because I really hate that teachers have to use their own money to buy crap for their class, which is bull crappy.
Nicole Smith is supporting you. Like she said, oh, the spec ed I got, she said she used to be a special ed teacher in the past, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's what the Curious Maker Lab's about. That's Curious Maker Lab on YouTube as well. And curiousmakerlab.com, which I'm slowly working into the actual nonprofit site.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, make sure and follow Stephy Hogan there. If you feel so called, go support her mission so that she can run one of these first events, which I can't wait to see the coverage for, Stephy. So
that's going to be cool.
Any final word for today? You got a final sentence for the day?
Final sentence for the day. Y'all just go out there and be empathetic. I know it seems like other people are being buttholes, but you don't know what kind of day they're having. And they might not be buttholes. They might just be having a rough day. So have a little empathy and let it roll off your back like water rolls off a duck's back.
Quack, quack. Thank you, Steffi.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, we've been hanging around here. Thanks again, Steffi Hogan.
Yay. Thanks, John.
We've been here interviewing Stefhy Hogan. If you missed it, you need to go back and rewatch this because it's super fun, super funny, and all the above. So again, if you want to be interviewed, oh, by the way, make sure and hit the subscribe and a bunch of other things on there. Follow if you want to see more of these interviews. I think, Steffi, you're like interview number 72, by the way. And I'm just about to, I think I found the right person that's going to convert all my YouTube videos into a real podcast. I'm going to start releasing them about once a week for at least, geez, I guess now I have enough for a year. So anyways, thank you again so much. If you want to be interviewed, click the link, engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, and select interview, and you too could be introduced to my amazing community. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time here on Engaging Virtual Meetings Interview.
Don't inspire people and keep people. Show you got heart.